Welcome to Barkhausen Nature Bites. Today we're talking about something that's part of summers here in Wisconsin that we all look forward to, we can't wait for, and that's mosquitoes. So maybe not quite that exciting about it. Maybe we don't look forward to them, but let's face it, summers, Wisconsin, we're going to have mosquitoes. It's going to happen. So here in Wisconsin alone, we have over 60 species of mosquitoes, but the thing is, not all those species of mosquitoes are going to bite humans. Some of them actually prefer to bite other animals like birds and amphibians. So as tasty as your blood might be, they're actually going to prefer the blood of other critters. Now in my hand, obviously, I don't have a real mosquito. I have a stuffed mosquito. We'll just call this one Bitey. And so a Bitey mosquito is just kind of help me illustrate a mosquito. Now I realize we've all seen mosquitoes. We know what they look like. I was going to try to hold a small one for the camera. Didn't work out too well. But honestly, you can also probably see mosquitoes flying around my head and biting my head throughout this segment. So again, mosquitoes, they are an insect. They do go through a life cycle from egg to larva to pupa to adult. And for that to happen, they do need to have water at some point in that life cycle. So if they don't have it, they cannot complete that life cycle. Now, once they get to adult, the females, yes, they do bite and they do need the blood to help them develop their eggs. Not like necessarily feeding on that blood, but they do need to have that blood to help them develop the eggs. The food source for male and female mosquitoes is actually something that hummingbirds and butterflies also need, and that's nectar. So mosquitoes are actually nectar feeders, but again, the females do require blood to help them develop their eggs. And the males, they're going to live for maybe about a week or so. The females, once they mate, and they only have to mate once, they can lay several batches of eggs, 1 to 3 batches of eggs, and they'll go and lay them in wet areas or in dry areas, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So for mosquitoes, there's quite a number of species, again, over 60 species in Wisconsin alone, and some species are going to require different types of water to put their eggs in. So some species like this, after the snow melts in the spring, that's what they're going to use. They're only going to lay eggs at that time. Other species of mosquitoes, they like more of the containers, so like tires, buckets, wet areas on a tarp even. Even something as small as a bottle cap can have quite a bit of mosquitoes in just that small bottle cap. In a natural setting, you think about like a fork in a tree or something like that, where it gets like a little rainwater, it collects and stays in there for a while. Those are like good for those container type of mosquitoes. Now, other types of mosquito species like more of the permanent bodies of water, so lakes and ponds that do not fluctuate a lot. So they actually prefer to have drier conditions, because if it rains a lot, what'll happen is the eggs and larvae get flushed out, don't do so well. So the more of the permanent body of water mosquito species that prefer those anyway are going to want not have a little more drier every year, because it helps their eggs and larvae. And those species of mosquitoes are typically the ones that are going to be more likely to carry some diseases. So, and those actually species of mosquitoes don't fly very far either, not strong flyers. Or maybe fly like about a mile, and that's about it, not very far from where they were hatched. Now, other species of mosquito, these are like floodwater mosquitoes. They're really interesting because they're the ones that when you get a big swarm of mosquitoes like a week or two after a rain event, those are the ones we're talking about, these floodwater mosquitoes. And they're fierce biters, and I'm definitely thinking these guys are floodwater mosquitoes right here. And what's going to happen is the females will lay eggs in low areas in the leaf vegetation, and when those areas flood up after a rain event, then those eggs are going to hatch. Not all of them, but some of them will hatch. Some will actually stay dormant for the next rain cycle. And mosquito larvae, for all the species, are going to eat plant debris. So for those floodwater mosquitoes, if they're in the leaf litter and that floods up, well, they got a food source, they got the water, so they can start developing to larva to pupa, and they could do this all within a week or so, even less, if depending on what the conditions are. So if that area dries up pretty quick, they can get out and be adults pretty quick. So again, those are the floodwater mosquitoes. One of the comforting things about a floodwater mosquito species is that they're not as likely to carry as diseases as the other species of mosquito. So yeah, they can get to big numbers, they can get really big swarms after a rain event, they can bite like crazy, but they're not as likely to carry diseases as the other species of mosquitoes. So there's a little positivity there. So what can you do to help you reduce getting bitten by mosquitoes? Well, there's a number of things. Obviously, repellent is a big one. If it's natural or if it has more of a chemical like DEET in it, either way, usually the natural ones, you got to reapply a little bit more often, but that's definitely one way. Another thing is, darker colors are actually more attractive to mosquitoes than lighter colors typically, so like that's probably why they're coming after me right now. If you're out in the yard and you're like by your table and you got a lot of mosquitoes bothering you, just get a couple fans even, because mosquitoes really aren't strong flyers with the wind, but they definitely can kind of help blow them away. One thing I should mention as well, speaking of strong flyers, those floodwater mosquitoes I was talking about before, they're actually pretty strong flyers as far as distancing. They can't fight the wind quite as well, but they can go far distances, about like 5, 10, 15, even 20 miles away from where they were hatched. So definitely pretty good flyers as far as distance goes. So again, in your yard, there's no magic plants or anything like that you can put in there. It's gonna help get mosquitoes out. There at least no evidence supporting that as of yet. There's no sonic devices that are gonna keep mosquitoes out. So again, maybe having a couple fans around if you have like your patio or something to help blow them off. You can do temporary treatments, where you fog it, you're trying to eliminate those mosquitoes. But remember, that's a short-term fix, because if another big rain event happens, mosquitoes are going to be back for sure. And anything you do in your yard is probably going to be a short-term fix. So really, just realize that mosquitoes are part of the summers here in Wisconsin. I mean, a summer without mosquitoes, that'd be like a winter without booger freezing temperatures, or it'd be like a spring without mud. It just isn't natural. We're supposed to have mosquitoes here in the summer, so just gotta accept it, appreciate it. I mean, summertime, it's a great time to get out, mosquitoes or not. So I think on that note, I'm gonna take Bitey back. Thanks for watching Barkhausen Nature Bites.